As adults, most of us come to a point where we want more friends. Maybe you recently moved to a new city, your best friend moved away, or you're recently married and just want more couple friends.
And having friends is actually more important than you may realize. Research by Martin Seligman, author of Authentic Happiness, tells us that having a robust social circle has a major impact on day-to-day happiness. Yet, how many of us think, yeah, I should make friends, but it's so hard, and then kind of give up? And then you look around a year or two later and realize, still no friends. Commit to finding friends. You don't have to be yet another lonely, isolated person. And I know what some of you are thinking. What if everyone I meet sucks? Well, I can promise you this. Some of the people out there waiting for you are incredible and will result in life-changing friendships. And you will be so thankful you put in the work to find them.
When I moved 3 years ago, I didn't know a single person, and I realized I had not had to try to make new friends in a long time. And it seemed so daunting. How do you even sort through all the people you meet to find the best friends? I've learned so much in this time, and I've made some amazing friends, and I need to share with you the concept of friend dating. It's just like real dating, where you go out to eat and get to know each other to see if you're a good fit, but now it's with potential friends. Invite people to do the things you like to do, and that will increase the chances of finding others with the same interests. For instance, when I meet a new person and I think they're pretty cool, I just ask, hey, would you like to get together and play some board games sometime? And if they respond, oh man, I love playing board games. Have you played this game? It's my favorite. You're one step closer to having a friend.
That's the ideal situation, but it doesn't always go this smoothly. And when it doesn't, the right mindset is crucially important because you're going to be meeting a lot of people and you won't click with all of them. But this is where people can get discouraged because they meet a few people and when they don't hit it off, they think, what a waste of time. I don't want to see them again. I'll never make friends. But that pessimistic lens is going to deflate you and eventually prevent you from continuing on. What I told myself instead was, all this friend dating will take time, but will lead to valuable friendships, and therefore it is worth the effort. And it is.
Let's just start running through this list, and most of these ideas are how I successfully made friends. Bumble BFF. So, the dating app Bumble has an option to look for friends called Bumble BFF. You make a profile just as you would for dating, and people put all kinds of things. Some people wanted a gym buddy, others a hiking buddy or brewery buddy, or a double date with other couples. I went on 8 or so of these friend dates, and everyone was super nice, but nothing stuck to the last date I went on where I met an amazing friend. And this is what I mean by sticking with it. If I quit after date 6, I never would have found him. Sports, it's not just for high school. You can go on Facebook or Meetup and type in whatever your city is, volleyball, and you will see tons of people meeting at all different skill levels. A lot of cities have leagues you can join too, which, if you're competitive like me, is such a fun way to spend an hour a week.
This is an obvious one, but being more intentional with people at your work. If there's someone you enjoy, invite them to coffee or dinner. I've made a few amazing friends by pursuing the friendship and not just passively letting it stay as a work acquaintance.
Classes. I literally just Googled classes near me and saw craft making, woodworking, metalsmithing. I have to imagine there are cooking classes like you always see in movies and TV shows, but I have yet to see them in real life, which is disappointing. And of course, fitness classes like CrossFit, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing. I do CrossFit and people are so friendly there that it will fill up your social tank even if you're not seeing anyone outside of CrossFit. And all these classes I mentioned, they really are something to be experienced before you decide if you like them or not. I would have bet money, and then lost it, that I wouldn't like CrossFit. I was just a scrawny guy that had never lifted weights. Why would I want to throw around a barbell? But thankfully a friend got me into it and I fell in love with it. So take the time and the courage to try it out. Most of these classes have a free trial week and you can just hop around to the different gyms to see which has the best vibe or the cheapest price, which if you're like me, it's hard to imagine paying money for something like this every month. But some things are more important than money, like your health, your social life, creating momentum and healthy habits. So eat out a few less times to save money for these activities and you'll be happier and a whole lot healthier physically, mentally, and socially.
I mentioned the website Meetup. They have a lot of cool ways to meet people. People host events based on your interests, so entrepreneurship, sports, working out, board games, trivia, all of it. I would definitely check that out.
If you're a churchgoer or open to it, churches usually have ways for the community to get together. If you're at your church and you look around and everyone is 30 years older than you or 10 years younger than you, maybe find a new church where there are people your age that you can see yourself being friends with. All of these suggestions benefit from intentionality. Stuff like inviting people over or to go somewhere together. There have been so many people that have thanked me for being the one to lead with all the invites. People are busy and it's hard for them to do the planning, but it's a lot easier for them to just say yes to an invite and to fit it into their schedules. There is a caveat to this. If someone keeps telling you no, that they are busy, and they are not following up with you on invites, chances are they are not interested in pursuing the friendship, and that's totally fine. We can't be friends with everyone. Don't take it personally. You will find people that want to hang out with you. And there's a caveat to this as well. If you're getting rejected left and right, maybe you have a blind spot when it comes to how you're coming across to people. And that's fine too, just get it checked out and fixed as soon as you can. And let's talk about some of the easy do's and don'ts for socializing. They can be habits we picked up as teenagers or from how we were raised that we didn't realize are actually annoying to be around, and some good habits to replace them with. An easy one is stop complaining. Even when people are polite and listen to you, no one actually enjoys hearing someone complain about their problems. It's even worse if you reject all suggestions for how to fix whatever it is you're going on about. If you want to talk about something difficult you're going through, end it in a positive way. Quick example for me, making YouTube videos while watching my newborn is challenging, but is rewarding and making me grow as a person. Not only is this better for someone to listen to, it's also promoting an optimistic, resilient mindset in yourself. That's a win, 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 win. Parks and Rec, all right.
Another huge one is to make sure to ask the other person questions and genuinely try to get to know them. We all have been in conversations where the other person talked the entire time, and how did that feel? Not great, right? Publilius Cyrus, an old Roman poet, said we are interested in others when they are interested in us. And you'll notice that as you practice this, you will actually start to enjoy conversations with people more because you're asking them questions you're interested in getting the answer to. So I ask things like, what have you been working on this week? Since I like self-improvement. Or what are some of your favorite books, since I love to read? You can do this with any topic, and you'll never find yourself talking about weak topics like weather or traffic ever again.
One thing I had gotten wrong for a long time is to not be afraid to be divisive. What would usually happen to me is that I would meet someone new and I would ask, what do you like to do for fun? And if they said, I love keeping up with basketball, or I love music, I go to tons of concerts, I would always try to find common ground, even if I didn't necessarily feel the same way. So I would say, oh, I used to watch basketball with my friend, and I've been to so many concerts, I went to EDC one year, blah, blah, blah. And I thought I was being kind by showing interest in what they care about, but I couldn't have been more wrong, because what ends up happening, they start inviting me to watch basketball and go to concerts with them. Oops, I don't want to do any of that. And I misled them, and now it's awkward. And that's the beauty of being divisive. It avoids all that. Oh, you like basketball? I don't watch basketball. Done. Now you can search for more common interests or feel out the chemistry with that person. This is also reminiscent of something Brene Brown says about meeting people. She basically says a lot of time our subconscious goal when getting to know people is, I want to get them to like me, right? Because that validates us and makes us feel good. But what ends up happening is that throughout the conversation, we may be a little worried or stressed that it's not going well. And oops, you just tripped over your words. And oh my gosh, are you rambling? Oh no. And then you leave feeling lousy because you're not sure if you made a good impression or not, and if they like you or not. But when your goal is instead to show up as your authentic self, all that pressure goes away. And yeah, you did just trip over your words. That's fine. You're human. You're allowed to do that. If they don't like you because you got tongue-tied, that doesn't sound like someone you would want to be friends with anyways. Because that's the thing, when you show up as your true self and people like you, it's the best feeling in the world. You never have to put up a front, always having your best foot forward. You just get to be yourself. And it's so freeing and enjoyable to live that way, and form friendships that way. And if they don't like your authentic self, that's okay too. You're probably not meant to be friends. I also want to talk about the concept that friendships lead to other friendships. This is a chain of events utilizing everything I've been talking about that led me to my wonderful friend, Marissa. I went to CrossFit for months. People I wasn't super close with invited me to play volleyball with them. I joined their volleyball group multiple times, and someone from CrossFit had brought their sister, who came with her friend Marissa. After being around Marissa a few times, I asked her to hang out separate from volleyball. We became good friends. If I hadn't joined CrossFit, if I had said no to the volleyball group because I wasn't super close with them, if I hadn't gone to CrossFit and volleyball regularly, I never would have met my good friend. And this has happened many times over the years with different groups. So don't be afraid to go to an event with people that you don't necessarily love. There could very well be someone there that you will end up being friends with.
To sum up, if out of every 20 people you meet, you find one person you want to be friends with, that just means get out and meet more people. Because when you meet 100 people, that's 5 friends. That's amazing. Good luck finding friends. It takes work, but it's so worth your time. Come back in a few months and tell me about the various friends you've made or spouses you've made. I met my wife following this advice. Maybe you will too. And if you like personal development and want to see more like this, like and subscribe.